Good afternoon. I'm Jackie Corosani. For those of you who don't know me, I teach economics here, but I am also one of the organizers of this program we call PioPitch. Before we get started, since this is our very first session, I want to explain a little bit to you what PioPitch is all about. Our goal is to provide a venue for local, existing, and aspiring entrepreneurs to basically come here and share their experiences, challenges, their opportunities, and their ideas with the rest of us. And then hopefully they receive a little bit of good feedback. We're not consultants. This is not going to be a lecture. It's not going to be something that you can allow yourself to get bored, because we don't want that, right? It's going to be very interactive. An entrepreneur is somebody who looks around, sees problems, and comes up with ideas to solve those problems or meet those needs. Could it be for profit? Could it be for non-profit business? Sure. Could it have to do nothing with business? Sure. You may have an idea on how to solve a community, a social problem. You can share those ideas with us. I want to thank my co-organizers, Dr. Gama Prucci. Thank you so much for your support and encouragement. Then we have Professor Sarah Alway Rosenstock. She's been great. I mean, we all kind of had this idea, and we were working on it without knowing where we were going sometimes. Laura Pitlick. Dr. Anna Volou. Yeah! Thanks, Anna. Hillis Hughes couldn't be here. Oh, you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Who am I forgetting, people? Because I'm very forgetful. I'm 62 years old. Kathy Maurer, she's on a trip. We have the support of the Office of Provost. Thank you, Dr. Miller, and thank you, Dr. Bruno. So I'm going to turn it in to President Bruno to get us going. Let's go.
Thank you, Professor Corosani. Dr. Corosani spoke about this program at the faculty meeting in January, and she brought enough enthusiasm and excitement to it that I said, I'm never going to speak after her at any event. And yet here I am. Yesterday at a meeting, I thanked her for her leadership of this, and she quite rightly pointed out all the folks she just recognized today who have been participating. And so I do want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for what's gone on here. At some point, I said to some of you that when I first saw the banner go up outside the door, and I saw the word PioPitch. What I've come to learn at Marietta College is that something becomes official when it has Pio in the title. So I know that we are truly underway here, and that's very exciting to me. So this idea came up sometime last year, and I had some vague ideas about what I would like to accomplish. A couple of major goals were to talk to students about entrepreneurship and maybe provide opportunities and training and ideas around that. Another real important idea I thought was if we could get folks, alumni, to come back and participate, we could form some really strong relationships between graduating seniors and more experienced alumni. But I thought those relationships would be very helpful. I thought perhaps we could help fill some of the storefronts downtown if we had students starting businesses. I thought perhaps we could keep some of our students in the area a little bit longer and forge those relationships. All of this was a fairly vague concept in my mind, and I worked with Beth McNally to try to put together a proposal, and she was very helpful adding some structure. And we did get funded, and we've sent some faculty members and staff members off to be trained on how to convey a program like this. We hear too much from students out in the world that a liberal arts training is not a preparation for a career. Now, I hope those of you who are Marietta students have seen through that and got past that. But that, I think, is a problem that's plaguing all of us in the world today. Those of us who have gone through a liberal arts curriculum and have liberal arts degrees, as adults have realized what a great training that was for the rest of our lives. And we're more than happy to tell you all about that. If we've learned anything, though, we remember when we were 20 or 21 how much we were willing to listen to adults preaching at us about things like that. And so it seemed to me that the best thing we could do is to try to train students and let them learn for themselves how to present themselves and how an entrepreneurial focus can really form the bridge from a liberal arts discipline to success in later life. And to me, that is the most fundamental part of this program. So I'm very excited to see so many of you here today. I consider this the official kickoff. There's no going back now, and that really excites me. And And so I'm delighted to have you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, President Bruno. My name is Sarah Rosenstock, and on behalf of the PIO Pitch Committee, I'd like to introduce the first speaker. Our speakers have been very brave and are innovative to come up here and be the first ones to do this and to share their story, their ideas, and ask you for feedback. The first speaker is Doug Krenek. Krenek Manufacturing was established by his parents in 1971 in Parkersburg, West Virginia. He joined the business in '83. They manufacture metallic braids, silks, carry of all sorts of embellishments used by many textile enthusiasts in needlepoint, weaving, sewing. You can imagine the list goes on. He's well known through his speaking engagements around North America, the UK, and Russia. The company name is well known across the world.
In the last 2 years, I was a representative for a major metallics company. I would visit like Coach and Polo and other people like that. They were aware of metallics used, because a lot of these people do use metallics. Like Tom's does use metallics in the fabric to make the shoes. But for instance, blue jean companies could use heavier gauge metallics to do the pockets or the seams. The very fine material that I have can be used by weavers to weave in weaving fabric. So it's just a matter of getting out there and getting people to say, oh yeah, that is interesting. I think I'll try that. Well, it's like going to chain stores. Like we're in Joann's Fabrics. Okay, in Joann's Fabrics, they're not the easiest people to work with. You go up there and you explain your new products to them and they say, no, that's not what we want. We went to Hobby Lobby and Hobby Lobby said, oh, no, we don't want it. And then 3 months later, there's my product on the shelves in Galveston, Texas. And my employee called me up and said, when did we start making stuff in Turkey? Hobby Lobby is well known for copying other products. A lot of the chain stores, when they were sold to investment companies, started dropping American products and going for Chinese products. It's a real tough market. And the way the market has changed now, millennials don't go shopping. I asked my daughter, where do you like to shop best? Oh, Amazon. A lot of people in our industry, they want the internet to go away. I said, good luck. So we decided to work with different people who have Amazon platforms. They bring in products, so they're making money by bringing my product in a different way. By selling in bulk, they can get around a lot of the barriers that Amazon puts in front of everybody. But we have to be on the internet. We have to be out there. We've been on the internet since the early 1990s. My background's in computers and retailing. We saw that we needed to be out there right away. So as soon as we could, we were there. We're far ahead of a lot of the people in my industry. But we see things. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Tumblr, we're on Pinterest, we're on everything. We actually go out and monitor 400 blog sites a week just to see where our name is mentioned. And we take that mention and we put it into a tweet or we put it onto our Facebook site. The marketing is totally different. And a lot of young people who have stores don't go to the large trade shows that we used to go to. I went to one trade show that was 7 exhibit halls big, and that's huge. And now it's down to like 1.5. And so young people don't go to these places. They go online. I'm competing with big companies like DMC, which is a huge company out of France. We're really small. It's the small guys out there who come up with the ideas, and the big guys who copy us. There's Coates, and then I have one guy out in California. He saw that I was in Joann's Fabrics, so then he started telling all his customers he didn't sell Joann's Fabric, and they shouldn't buy from me because I have my product out there and I'm competing with them. Well, I have, I think, 12 items in Joann's Fabric out of 6,000. It's up to the customer to determine whether my stuff is better than his stuff. Some people are nasty. When you buy something, what do you want in there? Do you want a full kit? Do you want to have to hunt around for all the parts? What we've read through the market, it's that you want complete things. You don't want to have to search. That's why we do build kits, because we find that people are busy and they can't shop. But you are about maybe 10% of the market, which I'm that part of the market too. There's no end to it. When I was in computers, my thing was, if you can think it, you can do it. That's the way I look at it. I came out with a metallic that's a 3-ply and a 6-ply metallic, so that you can go in and take the wool or the cashmere or the alpaca and put a metallic through it, and it's different from everybody else's. And that's all in customization. We just came back from a trade show, and 75% of the designs were antique samplers.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Douglas. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
Without further ado, we are going to go on to our next aspiring entrepreneurs. We have Alina Kilbasa and Tyler Baltzel. Alina Kilbasa is a senior here, double majoring in international leadership studies and political science, and also pursuing a certificate in teaching English as a foreign language. After graduation, Alina is interested in working in Columbus for a while before she moves out to California to continue her education at UC San Diego for a master's degree in Pacific International Affairs. Tyler is a senior at at Marietta College as well, majoring in advertising and public relations with a graphic design minor. He's highly involved in the American Advertising Federation as well as Delta Tau Delta fraternity. After college, Tyler would love to move out to Spokane, Washington, so if you have any connections out there to work in an advertising agency, talk to him.
We originally did this as a project in a gen ed class. We had to come up with an idea. We would like you to pull out
your electronics.
We decided when we were troubleshooting what could we do. We decided that we were about to graduate, and having never lived off campus, always living in the Delt House or Fairweather or Harrison, these lovely dorms that we have here, we realized we don't know anything about utilities. My buddy who lives in an apartment, he started telling me how his rent's like $200, and then they used a whole bunch of electricity because they were using all these heating elements and stuff throughout the winter, and they didn't know what that was going to do, and they ended up getting charged $150 for electricity. And we started thinking, well, shoot, none of us know what we're going to do when we graduate, and we get that first bill. So that's how we came up with the Pool Out educational electricity program. After interviewing a lot of different students, we realized that there was an overuse of electricity. Talking to a lot of students, I know myself in our fraternity house, we're pretty bad. We have a big TV in the main room that actually just burned out its bulb because I don't think it had been turned off since my sophomore year here. And I talked to a lot of other people, and that seemed to be the norm, leaving lights on, leaving electronics plugged in, just everything. Everyone thought, well, hey, I pay $40,000 to go here. It's not my electrical bill. Why do I care how much we use? Obviously, that's not how we want to make our students go out into this world, and that's not how we want to teach our students to act. But that's the current state of the situation. Graduates, they just also lack that information, like I just talked about. You know, we're about to graduate, I'm about to go get a real apartment. I have no idea how to budget for that first month because I don't know what I'm going to be looking at utilities. There's websites you can go on online that try and estimate these things, but until you have that real world use, you don't really understand what it's going to be like. You don't know leaving my TV on 24/7 or drying my hair for an hour and a half in the morning. You know, I don't know how that's going to affect my electrical bill. Also, just in general, there's a trend right now of society is moving towards more sustainable lifestyles. Everyone's trying to be green. And as a liberal arts school, we should be at the forefront. We should be the people leading the way. And right now, we're graduating and we're not preparing students to live a sustainable life. And I know as a liberal arts, we like to be full-rounded, and we know that this is a great education for our career, and we believe this is something that could really help students further themselves once they get out in the real world.
When Tyler and I were researching for this, we found that it costs, on average, per student enrolled in a four-year university, about $745 a year for electricity costs. From that, with Marietta College enrollment, that equals approximately $968,000 a year. Additionally, in 2011, Dr. Lynn Kiesling was brought to an economic roundtable and discussed that the current technology that is used in the electrical meters is about from the 1900s, so it's about time for an update. Additionally, it's a really unique way for the college to be able to interact with students. Aside from the incredibly catchy name, it's great to turn something sustainable. So we have a lot of other options, but really this is an interesting way for the college to have a direct impact on students. The way we want to solve this is through the Pull Out program. Essentially, it's a competition between students within one residence hall, and we want it to decrease electricity usage and increase awareness about electricity usage. Additionally, we really want to be able to monitor it with real-time data. As far as we know, there aren't that many electrical meters within the buildings, and there definitely isn't one per each room in a residence hall. And by installing these and having the access to apps and websites that will display the data in a competitive format, we'll be much more likely to decrease electricity usage.
We want students to be able to decrease the usage, and so the first semester when you come in the fall, everyone in their residence hall will get assigned. You'll just log in with your email and password, your Marietta email and password like you do to go on My Marietta, and it'd just be another part of My Marietta you would go, and you could actually see your different data, how much electricity you've been using, and kind of an easy-to-read graphs, pie charts, bar charts, those kinds of things, so that students can quickly notice. What they're going to do is the first semester, it's just going to be whoever in Harrison, whatever room uses the least amount of electricity, just to generally promote people to use less electricity. Then they will get 10% of whatever money that is saved for that hall. So in Harrison, in McCoy, in these different things. And we realize that it probably won't amount to being a lot of money, but that's not the point. Just students realizing they can save money will help create the competitive atmosphere that we want. It's not supposed to be a fierce, cutthroat competition or anything like that. This will also help teach students the knowledge, which students want to know. They want to learn. Students want to know how much electricity they're using. You know, they want to be more prepared. They want to feel like they're confident when they're getting that first apartment. They want to have as much back knowledge as they can. So we believe through that and the extra money you're getting back and saving, this will create social pressures in order to lower the overall electricity use of Marietta.
So now we really wanted to get into what you can do for us. Since this initially started out just as an idea that we thought Dr. Rosenstock would shoot down, we're really hoping for some feedback. We really need students who want to become involved with this within the next year.
And then along with that, we don't just want this to be one competition going on throughout the year, because while that will help, that's not enough. We believe that people in the community, I know there's plenty of different people out there who have a lot of information on utilities. We would like to be able to create actual flyers, handouts, stuff like that to be handed out at the beginning of the year that go in your mailbox to just raise general awareness levels of utilities and how they work. And we also would like to try and invite people from the community to come down and do this kind of thing, but to students and explaining to them utilities and electricity and greener and sustainable lifestyles and everything like that, because we believe students are interested, and we believe with those tools and with people coming in and getting the buzz going on campus, we can really create a more sustainable college here and really decrease the amount of money, but more importantly, decrease the amount of electricity used for Marietta College, which obviously, as we're trying to be more sustainable, that is a huge thing.
Well, first of all, thank you for your interest in electricity. As we've been able to invest in buildings on campus, we've been pretty good, I think, at trying to find the best energy-efficient envelopes for our buildings. And you're correct. Now the area we need to focus on is the plug loads in the residence halls. And the little bit of research we have done shows that about 40% of the electrical use we have can be related to the plug loads. So you're focused on an area that we have not really been able to make an influence on. Your timing is very good. We actually, through Beth McNally, have been successful in getting us a grant that will allow us to take meters from the 1900 technology up to current technology. In fact, Paul's been very successful in having these meters installed in Harrison Hall, McCoy Residence Hall, and at the Herman Fine Arts. So we actually do have real-time data that we have access to on our cell phones and on our computers. The challenge we've had is finding competitive software so we can make it visible to students, because you've hit the nail on the head. And if that's an area you could help us address, if you've done some research in that area, we'd be very interested.
Yeah, we have.
They advertised this or are promoting it as a thing that they're using in hotels and large office buildings and things like that, where they're actually breaking it down room by room, floor by floor, everything like that. So it does have the capability to actually show all the different data and all the different rooms and stuff. But like she said, it's still in beta, and we tried to contact them, but we haven't heard back.
They talk about things like saving so many trees and the carbon footprint and all that kind of stuff. Is that things that you all would be interested in and want to see, or how would you want to see the displays?
Okay, you didn't use like 50 kilowatt hours. Okay, what do I care? I think it's much more important to see like, oh, this actually, saved this many trees, or this actually cut down on that, because it's something that we can connect with and then we can understand. It puts it kind of in layman terms, where we're not just looking at these random numbers that are 0.3563 or whatever. So
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree, but I would open it up to some of the students that are here too and ask them.
I definitely would want to see like more relatable numbers. It might be cool with the competition to do like who can grow the biggest forest by like how much you're saving. That might be cool. I think students really thrive on competition, but not petty competition, like something that actually is making a difference, like saving the environment. Another unrelated note, I really like the timer lights. Redoing any buildings, that'd be great, because I know a lot of buildings have lights on all the time and it's super frustrating.
I've got solar panels at my house, and when the electric company sends me my bill, they show me dollar signs of how much I'm saving by having those solar panels, and it sure has an impact on us, and it tells us that. On a completely different question, during your research, did you contact the Electric Power Research Institute and get any information from them? So if we could tie this into some type of, let's educate future consumers that maybe they have a program where they have meters that they will give to you or subsidize somehow or help you implement this system, because out in California, it's mandated that they do certain conservation things. They have then triggered that across the U.S. Now, it's been a few years since I've worked with them, but they used to have a lot of new technology helping develop the new meters, so that might be a good place for you to touch base with.
plug charges, that they saw a 25 to 30% drop the next year in the amount of electricity that was being used through plugs.
Information systems program with the math department. On the one hand, first they offer courses in handheld apps, developing apps for things like that. So you might want to reach out to Jeremy Wong or to Bob Van Camp, because they're the two that teach that class. And also every year they have a capstone project that's always very application based. And I was thinking, as this company's beta testing their product, this might be be the kind of thing that maybe even students might want to look at, the IS students, and say, oh, well, we could do something similar to this, see if that would be something that where we're getting actually students involved in developing the app for it, in addition to the students getting involved in promoting the project. I think it's a great idea.
I've been here at the college for a little bit of time, and I think the one thing that we have a difficulty in doing is telling students how to live their lives. So I like your idea of making the information visible to students so they can make their own decisions. What I was curious about is, have you investigated any technology that students could invest in when they arrive here at Marietta College? Well, their laptops, computers, their electronic devices, have occupancy sensors on the extension cords or on the remote plug-ins or whatever the case may be. So students could be advised, purchase these types of tools, and it can help you with energy management in your residence hall.
There are quite a bit of the surge protectors now that do, I know they do phone and laptop, I'm sure they do an array of things, and they realize when your phone hits 100 and it just it flips it off, and then it waits, and it realizes if your phone gets down to, I think it was like below 80%, it turns back on, it charges it, and things like that. So there are those types of products out there that I do think we might be able to do a better job of maybe promoting to the younger kids and stuff. Buy these in your freshman year when your mom's paying for it and you're not buying it.
We try to indicate to students the type of purchases they can make that are energy efficient. And if we could add that into the student manual, again, I think it might lead students to make good decisions, and then you can take those investments when you move out into the world. So if you could help us determine those investments students could make, that would be beneficial to us.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that have to change and stuff, but yeah, I definitely think just the whole idea of kind of getting that education and cutting down on making Marietta College more sustainable would be something that benefits everybody here.
We buy the highest SEER rating that we can buy for the air conditioning units, and we buy the highest efficiency, boilers that we can get in here too. Have you guys done any surveys or have any feedback? A lot of it is behavioral changes where you can save money. We had a lot of meetings ourselves just with our own faculty and staff to try to get them to buy into it. What's your feeling as far as your guys' generation is how many are ready to jump on board and how many would not be?
As students, making a behavioral change at a cost for us doesn't necessarily sound that appealing in the beginning. And so having it competitive, having some form of financial incentive, which might not be a lot, but would be enough to get me to bump Tyler and say, hey, turn off the light. We could get $100 at the end of this. Using those social pressures, I think, is going to be really, really important, and being competitive and definitely having some type of financial incentive at the end, and they probably wouldn't give it to their mom.
On that same topic, in my ad campaigns class with Lori Smith, who's sitting right next to you, we had to do a bunch of research on our generation, and we actually learned that one of the top things millennials care about is kind of like fighting for a cause or making a change, bettering themselves and others, and bettering the world. So I do think going green is something that millennials really care about, kind of making a betterment for the earth and making a change like that is definitely something that's on their mind. So this would be a way to kind of throw it in front of their face.
The incentives we have right now is that the college has signed up with American Electric Power, our provider, and that any energy conservation we could do, say in those two buildings, we will actually get a rebate from them for the next 18 months of 2 cents a kilowatt hour. So there's a huge incentive there. So there's a pot of money that we could earn together, students and the administration, to get those savings. So possibly the rewards are there. And there's actually a committee already in place that is helping to implement that. So if there are any students here who would like to carry on your effort, the committee's there, the incentive's there, and the technology's there. So we're ready to take that next step.
I'm just curious if any of the current business owners or previous business owners that are in the room have had this discussion for your individual businesses, in particular if you have any employees. How do you deal with this with your employees?
My maintenance fellow and I talk a lot about insulation. We talk about things we'd like to do would be to put solar panels on the roof, because the utilities keep going up. We need to figure out ways of bringing it down and taking care of certain areas, making sure that the toilets don't run, changing out toilets to see that they're efficient toilets. I have 20 employees, so they get used all the time. And how to take the heat from our air compressor and push it back in the building during the winter, and then to take that and maybe convert it to energy other times of the year. We're working on those things now. Well, they complain how hot it is, or that they're too hot, and so they want the air conditioning up, and then in the winter it's too cold and they want the heat up. So we try to do things, tell them don't touch the thermostats. So it's tough though, because they don't pay for it.
Everyone just kind of complains about how high tuition is, so sometimes it's even like, what do I care? I'm paying $40,000 here. I can leave the TV on or whatever. But now if you had like an actual reason to stop and think about it, hopefully people would. Thank you guys for coming out, and hopefully we can make a change and have students everywhere pulling out their electronics.
Thank you. If you're interested, talk to them. If you're interested, also, guys, these cards, feedback cards, we really want your feedback because this is just the beginning. We want to get better and better and better from here on. So please take a few minutes, give us some feedback, and anything else you want to tell us, you can, as Sarah said, put on the back of this card. We are really interested in what you have to say. April the 9th is our next session. 2 new pitchers on campus. So don't miss April the 9th. That's another Thursday from 4 to 5. Thank you all. Bye.